Hello and welcome to the On the Knob pod. I'm your host Will Rooney, and today I'm joined by regular tipster Henry Gibbs, and we have another very special guest with us. We have a man who trains out at Cheltenham, a man who loves a slice of cake just as much as banging in a winner. Is Fergal O'Brien. Fergal, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
I mean, first of all, then Fergal, we'll start off with your career in racing. I think you came over to Britain in 1989. You've had some journey, haven't you, from working with Nigel Davis to taking out your own license in 2011. You're right to just go through what made you make the journey over to England first of all, and how it developed from there.
Suzanne, Chad, I think there's someone out there now. It's. I've been very lucky, that it's. People say that I say that I'm lucky a lot because I do feel I'm very lucky. I do feel that I'm very lucky in the people that I've met along the way, and it's a combination of being in the right place at the right time. I came to England first of all when I was 14 to spend the summer with my brother Brian up in not far from me, actually up near Malpas, just outside Malpas. So I spent a little bit of time there. I was meant to be there for a week or 10 days in the summer holidays, and I ended up spending 3 months there. So I was 14, I turned 15 there. So I had to go back and do my what would be the equivalent of my GCSEs, my intercert, and I went back and did that. And then once I did that, my brother Brian's boss organised for me to go to the British Racing School once I turned 16. So I was 16 in August, and in the February I came over. The following February, I came over to the racing school, and from there on, that's really where the luck comes into it. I suppose is that I was meant to go back to another trainer and up north, and things might not have worked out well. And last minute, he couldn't have me, so the racing school were very good, and a chap called Major Griffiths was in charge at the time, and he was good friends with Tim Foster, and I was just very lucky that they put me on a bus to Wantage from Newmarket. I was 16, and when I look back now, and I think my own children are. My eldest daughter's nearly 15, and I just think it was bonkers. There was no mobile phones. I was, I may as well be on the other side of the world, let alone in England. And anyway, I managed to get the bus to Oxford, and I was picked up from Oxford to go and work for the captain, and that was my saving grace. That was the grounding that someone young like me needed. The captain had 3 Grand National winners by then. When I went there, he had about 55, 60 horses. But the staff he had there had been there, the majority of them had been there 15, 20 years, all lads. There was no girls in racing then, really. The last year I was there, a couple of girls came into racing then, but all lads. So, it was a hard introduction, but a great introduction. If you worked hard, the others looked after you. And it was a real family, it was old fashioned. We all did 3 or 4 horses. Like I said, the majority of them in there 15, 20 years, done the job, being in the same job, being with the captain all those years. So he was a wonderful boss. And I was just very lucky to end up there as a 16-year-old wanting to learn. I think that's the important thing, is that you need to want to learn. And from there, it just went really well. I was lucky that, I learned a lot from those people who were there, and I learned a lot from the captain. It was a really good time for me, and I went to the captain actually and said to him, look, I'd like to ride. And he said to me, look, you'll never be a jockey, but you make a wonderful head lad. And as disappointed I was at the time, he was very much right. And, I was there for 3.5 years. And even after I left the captains, I stayed in touch with him. And actually, to be fair, not long before he died, he was in hospital in Cheltenham. So I went and spent some time with him, and he wrote me a lovely card afterwards. So it was really nice.
Bloody hell. That's nice, isn't it? You know what I mean? Touched on his life there. And then obviously you moved to Nigel Davis, and what a few years that was for yourself, involved in 2 Grand National winners and a Cheltenham Gold Cup winner as well. That must have been absolutely.
Yeah, to go to literally from the captains to Nigel's, I might as well, it was really the chalk and cheese. The captain was very old fashioned. He had different types of owners. Nigel was just getting going. Skoo was had retired. And it was a real happening place. It was a million miles an hour, whereas everything at the captain was, like I said, very old fashioned, very slow, very steady, brought the horses on really very slowly. And, that's the type of owner he had. But, things were changing, and Martin Pipe had changed the way people trained and one thing and another. So it was a different time. So look, it was great, and I went into Nigel at the right time again by luck. I knew Carl Llewellyn from my time with the captains, and it was he had awarded me with them for me. So I went there as a lad, and I was there a couple of years as a lad, and the head girl left, and so I just said, we take over being the head lad, and by then we were probably up to 80 horses by then. So it was a great time. It was a great time to be involved with. Lots of really good young hustler was there. Captain Dibbles. We just had so many lovely horses, lovely chasers, and fantastic time. And I even look back now, I thoroughly enjoyed my 18 years there.
What was the best day after Twiston Davis Yards for yourself? I know obviously we had a few big winners, weren't there? Gold Cup or National, how do they compare?
Funny, really. Like this it's a fairly common question. It's not a straightforward answer. The easy answer would be the Gold Cup day, because it was lovely that we won the Gold Cup. Sam Twiston Davis won the Fox Hunters, and Paddy won the Johnny Henderson on the Grand Annual on Pigeon Island. 3 winners at a festival. Like, why couldn't that be the best day? Especially with Sam. Sam was 10 months old when I went there, so felt very proud about that as well. But I suppose Binderee winning the National, because Nigel had already decided to give up training by then, which no one knew about. After Cheltenham, he went away skiing for a few days with some friends, and on the Sunday, Kathy's wife, ex-wife probably even at the time, sort of said, look, Nigel just decided it's not working anymore. And we'd had a bad season, we'd had a bad couple of seasons. Him and Skew had fallen out, they'd gone their own ways, sort of thing. And Nigel thought it would be easy just to pack up and move and try something else, So it was, so Binderee probably saved us all, really, and that was the turning point for us all. And like, again, just look, poor Jamie Goldstein was supposed to ride him, had a fall on the Monday or Tuesday. Ludlow broke his leg. So Jim Collotti came in, and I think I said it to Jim before. There was no one more frightened to go around Cheltenham that day, going around Aintree that day than other than Binderee. The two of them were petrified. Jim was coming to the end of his career and never let go of Binderee's head till after the last. Sort of picked his way around, and that suited Binderee. So he was a bit of a character. And so look, that's probably the day that sort of saved us all, really, and that's why I'm here now. So it's probably thanks to Binderee.
We're obviously all from Liverpool, actually about 5 minutes from Aintree, all of us. And is that the sort, obviously the Grand National, we know just how big it is. We see the crowds that come to our area every year. Is that the sort of race that it's like, it can revive someone's career, or it can propel someone's career? Someone that you think like Silver Birch for Gordon Elliott, it puts people on the map or back on the map, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, you're right to some degree, but Gordon Elliott was always going to do what he does, because that's the cream always rises. But we won 2 nationals at Nigel's with Binderee and Eric Summit, and there wasn't an influx of horses. And I remember speaking to Venetia Williams after she won the Grand National, and again there was no huge influx of horses. So and there's a few Grand National trainers who sort of didn't go on afterwards, and Tony Dobbins won. That nice man who trained that. He retired probably 4 or 5 years afterwards. Steve Brookshaw, or Brookhouse, whatever. So he retired not long afterwards. So yeah, it is. It's a fantastic race, and I've been very lucky. My first runner was Alvarado, and he was fortunate. And it's an amazing race. I suppose maybe living so close to Cheltenham. Aintree for us, it really is, so Cheltenham for us, the Cheltenham Festival for us is fantastic, and it's a big build up, and it's great, but you're here living in it, and so you have people coming to the yard all the time, and it's you get over that, and then you go to Aintree, and we go to Aintree on the Thursday, so we stay Thursday night and Friday night. Myself and Sally, we've met the same friends every year for the last 5 years since we've been together for dinner on the Thursday night and on the Friday night, and it's always it's just a great party atmosphere. You can go anywhere in Liverpool and you'll have a great time, and that's why we love, maybe for someone like Donald McCain, who's so close to Aintree, maybe it's like Cheltenham is for us, and it's a busy time for him. But yeah, we just love Aintree. Yeah,
definitely. And you took your trainer's license out in 2011. Did it just feel like the right time to go off and do your own thing then? Did you as you said, mentioned, you had 18 years at Swiss and David Yard. Did you just feel ready to go off and have that responsibility to be the man in charge of a yard?
No, not really. It was again, it was circumstances that got me there. I was training point to pointers with my ex-wife, and we were doing well with that. We had 15 or 20 pointers in and hunter chasing. I was very lucky that Nigel let me do it in between, alongside my day job sort of thing. Uh, but it was a case of, I met Carl Llewellyn at the races one day and said, how are you getting on? He said he was having a bad time and wasn't enjoying. He was training for Malcolm Denmark, wasn't really enjoying it. So he said he didn't think he'd be there for much longer. So I came back and said to Nigel, look, I think Carl is struggling a bit, and I think he'd be a big asset to us. So I was the one who brought Carl back to Grangehill Farm to Naunton, and he came back and just Carl had, look, he started training, and in my eyes, myself and Nigel had done it our way for sort of 16 successful years, and Carl came back in and pitched in with some fairly radical ideas, which I just thought, and even when he came up with a good idea, I just went against it because it got to that point, where two became three, and it didn't work for me, and I suppose that's really again down to possibly maybe we just. Maybe when Carl came back, and we should have set out our roles a bit better, and when you're bringing someone else back in, we just thought it would all just rumble along nicely, and it just didn't. So it got to a point where I was just fed up, and it was either put up or shut up. And I've never done the job for just to take a wage home, because it's not that type of job. It's always had to be, and I'd fallen out of love with it a little bit at Naunton. They were pushing Paddy out, which I didn't think was, if they didn't want Paddy to ride, they should have just told Paddy, look, we don't want you to ride anymore. Sam's going to ride everything, but it wasn't done right, and I felt every day was a bit of a battle between one thing and another, and trying to fight Paddy's corner a little bit, which I'm still doing 9 years onwards. But Paddy was very good for us, and he was very loyal to the yard, and he was a very good jockey, and I just didn't think it was done right. So Timmy Murphy would move to the area, bought a farm, so. Chris Coley, who was an owner at Nigel, sort of said, look, if you want to start up, I'll back you. And some of my point-to-point owners said, look, we'll move the horses from points to under rules. And that's where we went. Myself and Ali Sterling, who was at Nigel at the time with us, we started with about 8 horses at Timmy's in 2011, and Touchwood has gone from there.
63 winners, was it last season when the season was curtailed and with the coronavirus, and 58 already this season, so you're going to surpass your total last season. You'd like to touch towards.
I hope so.
What's been the reason behind this upturn for yourself? Do you think? Why do you think you've all of a sudden catapulted yourself to a next level?
We were lucky when I started off. My first season, I think we had 11 winners. We started in October, and then we went to sort of 28 winners, which was for a yard of 28 winners. We probably had 40 horses at the time. And then the following season, we flew, and we had, I think, 47, 48 winners. And then, just things, then life got in the way, and things went wrong, and my marriage went wrong, and just, things happened for different reasons. It was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure running the business, and just things went wrong. So it was just, it was a wrong time. It was a difficult time for me, and so numbers dropped away. Lots of things happened, and again, it was just a difficult time. And again, I was lucky in the fact that Nigel then heard that I was looking for a new place. The top yard was empty, so we had a poor season with sort of so I say a poor season. I think we still had 30 odd winners, but just didn't have the support network that I sort of needed really. And then Nigel was talking to me one day, and he said, look, the top yard there, so, I heard you have to move. Top yard is there. There's 45 boxes there if you want to move back there. And that was, again, a stroke of luck and a massive turning point for me, in that, I felt like I was sort of a bit lost of where I was going and what direction I was going in. Like I said, my marriage is split up and things like that. And suddenly I was going back to where I felt very comfortable, back to Naunton, back to gallops that I knew very well. It wasn't easy training Kildare, although we trained a fair few winners. It was hard to train there because it wasn't a great gallop. The other circumstances as well, but it was just a difficult place to train. So yeah, it sort of lost our way a little bit, but going back to Naunton just sort of gave us that step up again. And then again, coincidentally, Sally Randall came along, who trained in her own right. Sally had ridden me a winner through my very difficult times, called forgotten his name now. Won the Grand Military for me on Bradley. Sorry, on Bradley. And again, just by sheer luck, she decided she wanted to ride it, and so I'd met Sally then, and hadn't seen her, for a year and a half, and then I moved back to Naunton, and then I was at the sales in the September after moving back to Naunton, having a great start. Moved back, had 8 winners in the first 2 months or something like that. I'm at Doncaster sales, springing my step, literally bump into her, bearing in mind she's 12 years younger than me, and I'm really punching above my weight here. And but full of confidence because I'm training winners, and got chatting to her, and just asked her out. Didn't even know whether she could have been married with 4 kids for all I knew. Just said, look, if you fancy going for a drink sometime. Actually, no, I sent her a text because I was too gutless to ask her out. I sent her a text and said, if you fancy going for a drink sometime, let me know. And it literally went from there, and we've been together, just over 5 years now. And she was she's been a big part of this. Also, I think Paddy, not riding so much for Tom George when Adrian Heskin came over, Paddy was more focused on him. And like, no one can underestimate the part that Paddy has played in my career, because of his feedback, and it's just a constant there. I've seen other trainers do better than us for a year or two and then drop away. But the one thing that I've had constant, through good times and bad, is Paddy Brennan. And he's like the rest of us. We have good days and we have bad days, and even now we had a shocker on Saturday, but we talk about it, and I'm just convinced Aska Honeybee was ridden all wrong at Exeter, and he went and rode him exactly the same at Newcastle and got beat again by a head, and cost us another fight in 5th, which he did on Imperial Alcazar last year. But where he's been there, and he understands, and he knows that, I know that he always wants to win, and he's been a constant in the last 9 years. And it was lovely a couple of years ago that Colin's sister was his 1,000th winner. So that was lovely. That was for us. But so I think that that was a long one. The short answer is. The short answer is, I think that the uptake has been because of Paddy and Sally, and having that, Dr. Simon, who does all our social media, Chris Coley's obviously still there, Jeff Keys, having that huge support network around me that just lets me concentrate on training horses, really.
Do you think having a top jockey like Paddy Brennan as well, when owners know they're going to have a top jockey in Paddy riding horses, do you think that attracts them to sending them to you rather than other trainers as well, perhaps?
Yeah, look, I don't know whether Paddy will ever see this or not, but Paddy knows as well that it costs us the odd owner as well, because some people don't like his style, and that's fine, and each their own, and but I'll always want Paddy to ride the horses, and and that's when Paddy's very good with all the younger lads. He's been fantastic with Connor and Liam and Max. Max Kendricks came to us, 2 years ago, probably having ridden 7 or 8 winners a season. Had ridden plenty of winners, but haven't ridden 7 or 8 winners. No confidence, and just Paddy, his mother thinks that I've given him. It's all down to Paddy. Paddy's talks to him every race, after every race, before every race, and Max is riding phenomenal now. Just you wouldn't have a hesitation putting Max in any of the horses, and he's been brilliant with Liam and Connor as well. So. Yeah, it's not just what you see on the race course. It's the whole package you get. He'll be in here on a Monday and a Thursday with Neil Jukes, who again is another huge addition to the team here, and they'll do entries together. We'll all do entries together, and so it's a big. Like I said, I'll keep saying it goes on a bit, but I'm a small cog in a big wheel, and I'm just lucky to have the people to make the wheels go round.
As a trainer, what would you say your best winner has been?
Difficult again, very difficult. Very proud of Barney Dwan. He didn't win, but presenting Percy Mugders at Cheltenham, very proud of him. I suppose maybe that is a tricky one because there's so many of them. But Master D, I suppose, at Kempton, few years ago, a couple of years ago. We gave him a break, and I was very lucky that the Rooney's sort of had, and Jason McGuire had the confidence in me to give the horse a break and come back and go with him fresh. But there's been so many of them. Look, I suppose things like Saint Brie Lady this summer, Cheltenham the Vage, pretty average horses that, Saint Brie Lady never looked like she'd win anything, and won 2 on the bounce and was a very good third, so they're the ones that really, you get a real kick out of. But like I said, likes of Master D winning a racing post chase are the ones that sort of put you up there, I suppose, yeah.
Definitely. And one horse that you must still get a kick out of is the all-time perfect candidate who, at 13, 14, won again a Haydock last time out.
Yeah.
What a warrior he's been for you.
Yeah, like it would be easy to say, what race gave me the most pleasure, but that would be one. But that's literally down to perfect candidate, and it's down to Shannon who looks after him and Sophie who rides him. So I'm definitely on the fringe of that one. That's but again, that was all down to really good planning by all of us. To get the running team at Aintree, because that was the important thing to lead him on to Haydock. And it was important that Paddy rode him at Aintree, because I guarantee if one of the boys had ridden him, Perfect Count would have pulled himself up after 5 jumps. Whereas Paddy was able to cajole him round, and he needed that. He needed that 3 mile round Aintree, even though he was never going to win it. He needed that for Haydock, and that was again down to good planning by everyone.
And what next for them now? Do you find somewhere that's going to be like a bog again? He seems to relish those conditions.
Well, I hope so. He'll hopefully go back to Haydock, where he finished second in the Haydock race at the end of December. He'll go back there again, and we'll see how we go from there. Yeah.
Brilliant. Henry, I know you've got a couple you want to ask about, so you want to fire away?
Yeah, Fergal, the first one that is on my little short list is Silver Hallmark for yourself.
Yeah.
Ran a big race, didn't he, on his seasonal debut, just getting touched off by Fiddler on the Roof. I can see it as won a point-to-point over 3 miles, hasn't it? Would you be looking at stepping it up in trip now, maybe, or?
No, we think we'll keep him at 2.5 or thereabouts for now. Like he beat Paul Nicholas' good horse over 2 miles around Chepstow last year. Yeah, Metropolis, over 2 miles. He's got loads of speed, and 2.5 is probably fine for him now. He does need soft ground, and but yeah, no, he's a lovely horse. He's very straightforward. Very lucky that I trained Alvarado for William and Angela Rooker, who was like perfect candidate, and he would just turn up and do his job. We didn't run him much, but we knew what races we had to go, what we had to aim him at, and we did. The Rookers never minded him running at Cheltenham in January, because that fitted in nicely. Even though I think he pulled up 2 of the years, but it led on to Aintree, and it led on to Ayr. So but yeah, Silver Hallmark is a lovely horse, and I'm not quite sure where we go with him next. He had a little bit of a niggle when he came back from. He had a cut in his back leg when he came back from Exeter, and that took us a little bit of time to get right. But we'll get him out in the next couple of weeks, I suppose.
And another one I've got on my list is Jarvis Plate. It's a horse that's probably always shown a bit of class, hasn't it? It's got potential. It just has its good days and its bad days, like us all, I suppose. Is any races in mind for Jarvis Plate?
No, Jarvis. We haven't got anything in mind for him. Jarvis is just one of those. He's a little bit soft, and probably he needs a 4 or 5 runner graduation chase. He won very well around Chepstow first time out last year, and just never really went on from there. Probably slightly my own fault, really, because we ran him there, and we had a plan for him, and then we went away from the plan, and we took him to Haydock or somewhere a couple of weeks later, and we chucked him in with the handicappers, and just wasn't the right thing to do. So we've learned from that, and we wouldn't do that again with another one. And so yeah, he just wants a smaller run field. He's got lots of potential, lots of ability, and we just need to eke that out of him. So he's one of the ones that's gone to the new yard, because we think it'll spark up a little bit more life in him. So fingers crossed. But no plans.
Cheers, Fergal. And then the last one I've got on my list is one that ran a Haydock last week, Imperial Alcazar. Finished middle of the pack, didn't it, in the handicap hurdle, but I think that's a horse that's got a decent pot in him. Would you agree?
100%. Well, yeah, I hope you're right. Like he goes to Uttoxeter next Tuesday for a novice chase. It was a difficult one for us really because he came back to us a little bit, not much, but a little bit later than he normally would have. We normally would have had him back. So it was a case of do we just bat on straight over hurdles, or do we just wait a little bit and go do we wait a little bit and go chasing? So the idea was to give him that run in that handicap hurdle, just to see where we were with him. That was a very difficult race. Astillen was fortunate, and he'd had a run, albeit he fell at Cheltenham in October. But at least he'd been on the track and had a run. Imperial Alcazar travelled very well, jumped very well, and just got a bit tired really. So hopefully that's put him spot on for next Tuesday at Uttoxeter. But we think he's a lovely horse, yeah.
Yeah, cheers. That's all from me. Well, I think you've got a few yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just got one Fergal myself, which is Oscar Rose, who won at Kempton last time out. Did that get her into the new mares race at Cheltenham? Is it for the qualifier, or would she have to go up in the weights a bit more to qualify for that?
I haven't really looked at that mares race, but she runs again. She runs around Christmas time somewhere. But again, she probably didn't do as well over hurdles as we would have liked. But I think what we did learn about her was that that she is definitely better going right-handed on nicer ground. We over hurdles we ran her on all sorts. But she's a lovely mare, and we'll keep her in that sort of company. And so she's in at Wincanton on the 26th in a mare's chase, and she's right-handed, decent ground. We'd be hopeful that she'll keep progressing, and be lovely if she ended up at Cheltenham, although that is left-handed. But anyway, we'll take a chance on the one day.
Superb. Billy Fergal, just finally, and we'll ask you one horse that mightn't have been mentioned. Is there any that we should have on our radar to keep an eye on for the rest of the season?
Again, that's so difficult. I've got a nice horse called City Derby, which was a bit unlucky in his bumper the other day. A couple of weeks ago, he got taken out. One fell next to him on the bend, and so it took him out. And Paddy unfortunately came off the back of him, and then he ran into a rail and slipped up. But it was too early. Paddy says he would have won that day. Well, whether he would or wouldn't, he was still going to run very well. And he's by a sire we really like. He's by Ask, which is a really tough sire, which is Ocean Cove, Astillen, Ask a Honeybee. By a good sire. So we really like him, and hopefully he'll be back out around Christmas time. And he'd be one that probably wouldn't be on many people's radars.
Superb. Well, that's brilliant, Fergal. I mean, we'll let you go now because I'm sure you've got some planning to do, and 3 runners at Ludlow as well later on this afternoon. So best of luck
2,
for
I
them.
hope.
2? Oh, is it 2? Is it? Sorry.
Yeah. Champagne well, and asked the lady in the bumper. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. No. It was it's kind of good to get me on. Thank you very much.
No, brilliant. Thanks very much for coming on. We appreciate your time, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Bye bye.